In a tiny world underfoot, where danger lurks and survival is key, there lives a colony of ants with one big problem. Every summer, they're forced to collect food for a gang of greedy grasshoppers led by the ruthless Hopper. But one ant, the clever and determined Flik, dreams of breaking free from this cycle. With inventive ideas and a heart full of courage, Flik sets off on an adventure that could change everything for the colony. The story begins on Ant Island, where a colony of ants works tirelessly under the watchful eyes of their queen and her young daughter, Princess Atta. Life on Ant Island revolves around one major task: gathering food to appease a group of intimidating grasshoppers led by their menacing leader, Hopper. Each summer, the ants are forced to collect a large offering of food for Hopper and his gang to avoid their wrath. Among the ants is an inventive worker named Flik. He's always coming up with new ideas and gadgets to make life easier for the colony, but his inventions don't always go as planned. Unfortunately, luck never seems to be on Flik's side, and his inventions often lead to more trouble than they're worth. Nevertheless, he's adored by Dot, the Queen's younger daughter, who admires his courage and creativity. One day, Dot even tells Flik that she's inspired by him and hopes to use his inventions one day. One summer day, the alarm sounds, signaling the approach of Hopper and his gang. The ants quickly hurry to store the food they've gathered as an offering. Flik, eager to help, uses one of his new machines to speed up the food collection process. But his invention accidentally causes a disaster, knocking over the pile of food offerings and sending it tumbling into a stream, washing away everything the colony had collected. When Hopper and his gang arrive and see that the food offering isn't ready, they're furious. Hopper confronts the Queen and demands double the usual amount of food as punishment. He gives the ants a deadline, warning them that if they don't fulfill his demand by the time the last leaf falls from the tree, he and his gang will return to destroy the colony. The Queen pleads with Hopper, but he ignores her, threatening to unleash his gang's wrath if the ants fail again. With the entire colony terrified, the ants blame Flik for the disaster, and he's brought before the Queen and the colony's council. In his defense, Flik proposes a bold idea. Instead of giving in to Hopper's demands, they should find bigger, stronger bugs who could help them stand up to the grasshoppers. The Queen is doubtful, but realizing this could give them a chance to escape Hopper's threats, she reluctantly agrees. Determined to prove himself and make things right, Flik volunteers to set out on this dangerous mission. Despite the risks, he's excited to find brave warriors to protect the colony. The Queen and Princess Atta send him off with words of encouragement, and Flik begins his journey to the big city, hoping to recruit fierce bugs who can help them once and for all. After a long and exhausting journey, Flik finally reaches the city. It's an entirely new world, bustling with strange and advanced bugs of all kinds. Flik tries to explain his mission, but amid the city's noise and chaos, he has trouble finding anyone who will listen to him. Eventually, he stumbles upon a group of circus bugs who, due to a misunderstanding, believe Flik is offering them a job as warriors. Excited by the prospect of steady work, the circus bugs agree to join Flik, unaware of the true danger they're about to face. And with his newfound allies, Flik returns to Ant Island, hopeful that he's found the help they need to defend their colony from Hopper's impending attack. Back on Ant Island, the ants are thrilled to see Flik return with what they believe are warrior bugs, ready to protect them from the grasshoppers. When they arrive at the ant colony, the ants greet them with a grand celebration, thrilled to welcome the warriors they believe will save them from Hopper's terror. Unaware of the truth, the ants shower them with gratitude, while Flik introduces the circus bugs as the colony's last hope against Hopper. As the story unfolds, the circus bugs realize they might actually have to fight the grasshoppers, which shocks them. After all, they're not real warriors, they're just circus performers. Flik realizes that he might have made a terrible mistake in bringing them here. The bugs even have a meeting where they discuss leaving the ant colony. They don't feel capable of protecting the ants against Hopper and his gang. However, just as they're about to leave, Princess Atta and the other ants come to plead for their help. Atta apologizes, and Flik realizes he has to do something to fix his mistake. While practicing for what they think is a show, the circus bugs along with Flik, stumble into a bird's nest. Suddenly, they're under attack. The bird swoops down, mistaking them for food, and a chaotic chase ensues. Flik and his new friends barely escape with their lives, thanks to some quick thinking and teamwork. In this dangerous moment, Princess Dot watches through binoculars. A bird suddenly swoops down and nearly catches the circus bugs. They scramble, doing their best to escape. Surprisingly, their quick thinking and teamwork save them, and they manage to survive the encounter. The ants are in awe, clapping and cheering for the bugs, as if they've just witnessed a heroic act. This unexpected admiration boosts the morale of the circus bugs. They start feeling like they really are heroes. Flik, inspired by the bird encounter, comes up with an idea to create a fake bird. He believes that if they build a realistic bird, it will scare Hopper and his gang into leaving the ants alone for good. The ants and circus bugs work together on this ambitious plan. It's an ambitious idea, and the entire colony pulls together to make it happen. The work begins with gathering materials from all around the ant hill. The ants and their new circus friends gather large leaves, sturdy twigs, and strong vines, which they'll use to build the bird's frame. The ants pass the materials from one to another in a busy line, working together to get everything they need. Next, they start putting together the bird's skeleton. The ants and circus bugs work side by side, and with each layer of leaves, the bird begins to take shape, while Rosie the spider ties it all together with her webbing, adding just enough strength to hold everything in place. The ants add final touches, layering soft leaves to give the bird the appearance of feathers and coloring it with flower petals for a realistic touch. As the final pieces are added, the fake bird looks lifelike and intimidating. But while they're busy preparing, Hopper's gang is also gathering food in their own territory. Hopper doesn't take kindly to any sign of rebellion, and when he hears about the ants' plan to defy him, he's furious. He angrily declares that he'll return to the ant colony soon, determined to assert his power. As the ants finalize their bird trap, the circus bugs have also grown closer, especially Flik and Princess Atta. They've built a mutual respect and admiration for each other. However, just as they're about to put their plan into action, the circus owner arrives looking for his missing bugs. He reveals to the ants that these warriors are actually circus performers, not fighters. This revelation devastates the ants, and they feel betrayed. Hopper takes advantage of the situation, using it to further crush the ants' spirits. He forces the circus bugs to leave, mocking Flik and telling the ants that there's no escape from his rule. As the circus bugs leave, Hopper and his gang arrive at the ant colony, furious about the lack of food. The ants try to buy time, but Hopper, angry and relentless, and threatens the entire colony. The ants feel helpless against him, and Hopper begins to assert his control even more harshly. But Flik manages to escape and returns to rally the ants, reminding them of their strength in unity. Encouraged, the ants decide to stand up to Hopper. Meanwhile, the circus bugs return, devising a plan to use the fake bird they had built to scare Hopper away for good. They distract Hopper and his gang, allowing the ants to launch their fake bird. The ant colony, led by Flik and his allies, prepares for the arrival of Hopper and his gang of grasshoppers. They set up an elaborate trap using a fake bird they built earlier, and the ants work together to drive the grasshoppers away. Seeing the large bird, Hopper is terrified, thinking it's a real threat, and tries to flee. However, in a twist, the fake bird catches on fire, revealing itself as a construct. Hopper, realizing he's been tricked, grows enraged and turns on Flik. He begins attacking him, mocking his efforts, but Flik bravely stands up to Hopper, stating that the ants no longer fear him. Inspired by Flik's courage, the other ants unite, realizing they outnumber Hopper and his gang. They band together, forcing Hopper to retreat. As Hopper tries to escape, united, they stand against Hopper and the other grasshoppers, driving them out of the colony. Just as they begin to celebrate, rain starts pouring down, creating chaos and washing away the ground. Hopper seizes the opportunity, grabbing Flik and attempting to escape with him. Dot and the other ants chase after them, and with a burst of courage, Dot manages to free Flik from Hopper's grasp. Flik lures Hopper to the real bird's nest, where the bird captures Hopper, putting an end to his reign of terror once and for all. Back at the colony, the ants celebrate their newfound freedom and unity. Flik is now a hero, and his inventions, once dismissed, are embraced by the colony as they bring improvements and joy to Ant Island. With peace restored, Princess Atta is crowned the new queen, and the circus bugs bid a heartfelt farewell as they head off on their next adventure. This inspiring story of courage, unity, and self-belief ends on a high note, reminding us of the strength we can find when we stand together. A Bug's Life, released in 1998, earned a remarkable 7.2 rating on IMDb, and its message continues to resonate with audiences of all ages.